GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year. But the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker. Especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs. Any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. Feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
It is time and time again, but it's about choice and focus as you go on through, with drivers hoping for their best possible results to be put out there on the table. This is the Dallara Formula IR series, and this is all about important work to be put in round 9 here at Sebring here today. Of course, when we find ourselves in Florida on this old airfield circuit, there is always that talk about that balance between racing on asphalt and racing on concrete. Two very different properties to get everything all sorted together. But at least for the time being, these drivers will be looking for their times when it comes to their qualifying efforts, and the racing action of 30 laps here today with one pit stop required. I'm Jake Sperry. Soon to be joining me will be Scott Fonte alongside me for the ride. But at least for the moment, let's take a zoom in to this Florida racetrack. And there are so many great places: Orlando, Miami, New Orleans, Atlanta, Charlotte. But we are down in the south here with Sebring, not a million miles away either from Daytona Beach, Florida, and that wonderful racing circuit. You could say Florida is a hotbed for great racing action. Home, of course, of the Sebring 12 Hour. This is some of the most amazing track that you can see. Of course, you've got that run through the Gurney Bend at turn 6. You can go all the way down to that Hotel Hairpin at 7. You got the run to Cunningham at 10, through Collier at 11, the Tower at 13, down the Flying Fortress straight to Bishop, Jean de Bienne at 15, Le Mans at 16, Sunset Bend at 17 after the Ullman Straight, and every corner that crops up along this wonderful racing track is one that you would put probably anywhere in terms of racing action. And this is the sort of place that you go out and you say that you can't really build a circuit like this anymore. You don't often get any more disused airfields which can lend themselves to racing circuits, as this one was after World War II here in Highlands County, just east of Sebring. So 6.02 kilometers, those times out there at the moment for their laps then in qualifying, and the work to be done at this point in time, with the first times just about coming up onto the board through Danilo San Filippo. Small grid as well today, just the 14 drivers as we take a look at the championship standings. Of course, we know Tamas Simon has 2 races in hand, but he can choose when and where he races them if he wants to. So Marco Sanfilippo currently 207 points clear up at the top. You can see Danilo Sanfilippo there second with Tamas Simon third. Andreas Henkel has moved up to fourth in the championship with James Chester's fifth. And drivers like Javi Vila out there in 10th position is going to be one which we haven't seen too much of, but just quietly putting in the good results to put the points together on the board. Of course, there are more than one time slot to score your points, and we have seen that come in, and it is Thomas Tartari, currently fastest at the moment on a 131.177 out there on the board. Moving through the right, we focus on one of the San Filippos, Marco, I do believe, making the progress then through the Bishop's Corner and over towards Jean de Bien and Le Mans. This very flowing section. You can run off the track at that stage of time there, using, of course, the white lines as a big focus point as you make that charge over towards the final corner and this sunset bend, the corner of 1,004 different lines. Which one is the correct one? Well, only time will tell as Marco Sanfilippo gears up to finish that first flying lap. 1:31 to beat, and he immediately eclipses it by half a second, a 1:30.604. Absolutely putting a wonderful time down on the board. Not much that you can argue against that. There is Cal Young in the number 6 race spot car. That time will not count then for an opening lap, so more to be done by Cal at this stage. Going on to an outlap as well as Philip Schiff as we look at Richard Craig. And I've just noticed Andreas Henkel's just gone for a spin through the final corner, so troubles there for Andreas Henkel. But at least for the moment, Richard Craig making that run to the final corner and hoping this second lap on the books is going to work. So makes that drive over for the line, and that is a 1:31.906 only. Very minor improvement, 0.02 of a second, because it's simple. This track is hot around here today. It's 44 degrees, winds coming in 19 Ks, and creating a bit of havoc there. Tomasz Kozdron, 31.9, good enough for 7th position. Pablo Suarez moving to 11th as James Chesters looks to put the MXS car forward, and it's a 32.3 only for an opening lap, so 9th position for James. Will be a little bit surprising with that opening lap then on the books. That would definitely not have been the idea that's needed. But look at Marco Sanfilippo once again. Huge wiggle. And he's lost it coming out to the final corner. So pushing the very limits. I didn't think that he needed to, but he wanted to prove to everyone he could go for it. And ultimately that didn't work. Now Cal Young with a big lockup then, trying to slow it down at Le Mans. Remember, this is his second lap onto the Ullman Straight, and he's got to make sure he puts one down on the board. A tough day for points. This will be so they'll be definitely working hard to make sure that they get the right result available. So the number 6 car does not get it down in the book. So we'll start at the very worst at the back with Philip Schiff, who will not have enough time to put a lap down on the board, which means it's only James Chesters now that can improve. I'm going to bring Jay Kennedy into the conversation. He's been on the cameras here for this one. But Jay, really what you can say this moment in time is that it is Marco Sanfilippo once again at his very best. James Chesters, though, he's out of position, needs a time. Okay.
Hello, Sperry, how are you, mate? Sorry I am late to the start of this broadcast, mate, but I am here to join you now, and what a fantastic track that we're at. I absolutely love Sebring, and
These Formula cars are going to be pretty cool around here tonight. Not so much of a field that I expected to see. I thought we might have a few more drivers on the grid. But yeah, certainly expect some great racing.
Yeah, we certainly will, of course. There's Scott Fountain joining me right now, and the starting grid is now secured. So Marco Sanfilippo then, after the field split, 28 drivers, 2 splits of 14. Marco Sanfilippo, 130.604. It is a 1-2-3 with Thomas Tartari there in second position, and Danilo Sanfilippo lining up then in third. It will be Omar Bahar alongside him in fourth position, with Anthony Catt then starting fifth, and James Chester's there in sixth position. Seventh then will go to Rashad Craig, as the Polish driver Tomasz Kostron will go from eighth position, and an all-German fifth row as Andreas Henkel and Jan Hoffmann share that, with Adam Cohn in 11th position and Pablo El Suarez then in 12th. The Spaniard, there's Cal Young and Philip Schiff, who both do not set times, 13th and 14th then on to the starting grid. It's going to be a very big battle that they're going to be having here today. It's 30 laps worth of action, a hot track as well. Will definitely not be helping these drivers try and keep this one on the island. It's a very technical track here at Sebring, known mostly for the Sebring 12 hours that normally takes place on a February. And this has been a very difficult track to get right at the best of times, and even at the worst of times as well. All 14 then on the grid. We got 30 laps available. Lights then on, and we are racing here with a very slow start from the third row, and very nearly Chester's getting caught up there. Bahar again struggling. No room in the inn there for Cal Young to get going off the line, as they all struggle to get through towards that opening corner. No real dramas though. Nobody out like there were last week, but it is a clean start for Marco Sanfilippo out in front. Henkel then giving it up compared to Rashad Craig, who got the move sorted, and we're all funneling through, 14 through, at least for the first 5 corners.
Yeah, exactly right. Pretty clean start for all these guys. It's a awesome start to the lap, and that turn one is certainly creates a lot of great battles. Good to see that everyone's got through the first few corners. As we're seeing one of the cars go wide just on that turn there. Just going to look back and see who that was.
It would have been Hoffman, and of course one driver in the pits as well. We've just seen Pablo Suarez caught the back of Jan Hoffmann, actually off of the line, and we'll catch us on the virtual racing score replay here, Fonty, on just how difficult it is when you have a poor start. And well, it's already happened. He's just waiting for the get-go, and watch this, the Minardi ultimately into the back of the Vortex sim racing car.
Yeah, there we go. Can happen so easy, and these cars are pretty hard to get off the line. We've seen plenty of action in most of the races, so yes, that front left wheel has come off very easily.
Adam Cohn goes for a spin then at Le Mans, and just about gets the Leighton House back on track then, going through that section very easily. Done some great battling up and down the field here. Forecast scrap, Danilo Sanfilippo, Anthony Catt, Rashad Craig, and Andreas Henkel on the opening lap. Behind that, Cal Young looking at Philip Schiff for position also, as they'll be going in towards turn number 1. So every little bit of battle out there at the moment, and they'll be focusing on putting some good laps together here, making sure that they're just riding things as needed. Bit of a slide there from Rashad Craig. Opens it up through the gurney bend over towards this hotel hairpin, where Andreas Henkel might have a look to the inside in the Hearts-inspired livery. Not going to get there.
Yeah, certainly not going to get there. Plenty of runoff at this track, which is quite forgiving for the drivers. And yeah, you can really set yourself up well for a pass with some great passing opportunities especially into the last corner. We'll see plenty of action going on there.
And it's that plenty of action that we are focusing on here at the moment. Henkel with a lot of work to do then here in 6th position. Will want to gain those places, and this is a track where, especially when you've got so many straights and opportunities as this one, that you need to stay with. Henkel does run a little bit wide going through the Ullman corner, and I think there may just be a penalty of sorts he may have to deal with. He might have just got away with it, actually, it seems. So Andreas Henkel right now just trying to get himself through, and it's not quite working out the way he wants to on the back. But there is Danilo Sanfilippo pushing incredibly wide through Sunset Bend. You cannot take that corner for granted. We saw in qualifying, Fonty, Marco Sanfilippo go for a spin there. Danilo doesn't want to make that 2 brothers in this session, going for a spin at the final corner.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and yeah, pretty hard to bank a lap in one of these cars and get it perfect. They're you're on the edge all the time. It's yeah, certainly a lot harder than driving an F1 car. So pretty good lap for our race leader, and yeah, good to see two brothers out there having a good crack at it.
Absolutely, we are. We go on board then with Rashad Craig then for the moment. 5th position, looking to attack one Mr. Anthony Catt here for the 4th position. Opportunities are knocking, but aren't going to be there. So that was a good chance to get that one done. And there is a pass for position then as they go through the Fangio S's. That is Omar Bahar losing out to Tomasz Kozron. So Bahar is absolutely nowhere. We'll catch this on the replay because he's had a huge off down here at that hotel hairpin. Just outbrakes himself into the corner. And the moment he tries to grab any turn, well, you're out there in the grass. And it's very difficult to keep these things controlled on a surface which isn't asphalt. You could argue as well it's very difficult to keep it controlled on a surface that is asphalt.
Yes, you're exactly right. These cars are an absolute beast. But yeah, touch the grass on one of these and you're just a passenger. I absolutely love this corner. To get it right is so difficult. And yeah, you can really wear out those front tyres if you're pushing too hard, especially endurance racing, which this track is well known for. And we've seen some great races here throughout this events that we've covered here at SimSpeed TV.
We certainly have. Anthony Catt still chasing then on the number 12 machine of Rashad Craig, trying to pick this up. And Anthony Catt, a definite open wheel specialist, knows how to get the best out of them here on iRacing. In 5th position, will be looking to try and move up and continue to make that charge. And it's just not quite there at the moment. Is looking every which way for it, but is not quite in the right position, at least for the moment. Worth keeping an eye, though, on those lap times out there here today, because I think it's going to be a 2-horse race between Marco Sanfilippo and Thomas Tartari out there. The gap was actually just brought down ever so slightly last lap by Thomas Tartari. So I think that Tartari knows he's outside of 2 seconds right now, but he's got to absolutely go if he wants to keep the pressure on here on Marco Sanfilippo, especially at this place.
Yeah, you're exactly right. 26 laps to go, so anything can happen. And yeah, once the tyres start to wear out, then we will see mistakes definitely start to happen. Battles further back, though. Rashad Craig certainly putting a fair bit of pressure on that 3rd place car. And just behind him, Anthony Catt also chasing down.
Yeah, we do have a retirement. It will be Tomasz Kozron, who is out a spin at the last corner, last lap. Did not help his cause, and as such, he is out of this race as Craig still looking to try and stay with him. In fact, he's now looking to attack Danilo Sanfilippo, and we don't often see this. Danilo's the sort of driver who over the last, I would say, 9 races of this season, or the last 8 races of this season, he's been someone who's found himself in a lot of space and hasn't really had to worry about drivers behind. Today, a little bit different. Rashad Craig keeping him company.
Yes, certainly is. Rashad Craig doing a fantastic job. Haven't driven one of these cars yet myself. Haven't had a sim to be able to experience the beast. But certainly people are getting a lot better at driving them. We saw in the first event that we covered, I don't think half the cars made it through the first turn. So good to see some great racing and these guys really utilising these cars.
Absolutely, and that's what we see as they go on through some brilliant battling here. 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, because Andreas Henkel, his eyes all over of Anthony Catt, who's going to go around. Henkel's done really well to not make contact there, as Catt now can't get it turned around, has to wait for the train to go. Backs it up a little bit into the tyres, so he'll get away with that. And he's just overspun it and now can finally get away. He'll spend the next lap also dealing with those hyperheated rear tyres, which will definitely not be helping out his charge. But now look at Rashad Craig with an angle to attack Marco Sanfilippo. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.8. Found an extra second over Thomas Tartari that last time by. And there's a mistake for Danilo Sanfilippo. Gets in the grass under the braking. And Rashad Craig moves up onto the podium.
Yep, there we go. Simple mistake. And he can regain himself from this one, though. So just got to keep it cool, look after those tyres, and not get too many flat spots on them. And yeah, this track is very forgiving with runoff area. So if you know generally have to take an off track to save yourself, then that's probably the best option.
I definitely agree. This is the sort of track where you've not got a million miles to go with, despite it being an airfield circuit. If you do have an off, it is going to be big, especially when it's grass all around you. Effectively like racing through a field sometimes, the way that you have to try and be pinpoint accurate through some of these corners out on tracks. And good work being done then at the moment. James Chesters we focus on right now, who's been a little bit on an island on his own. Now looking to try and chase down Andreas Henkel for the 5th position out there on circuit. So he's definitely got eyes forward, and this is the sort of drive that James Chesters is known for, just keeping himself honest and in the mix. You can see there just behind, that is Phil Schiff, finding himself with Cal Young, trying to get himself close, at least honest at this stage.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Not too familiar with James Chesters myself, but just jumping on board with them now. Yeah, driving pretty well, I would think, at this stage.
And just coming out of the pitch, Tomasz Kozdron's had another little spin, so he is off the road, and they're going to see him right now on the inside. Just check out for your left. There he is, Tomasz Kozdron. And through and around, he is lap traffic at this stage, able to get the car back out and going again. Good battle as well. Bahar has actually just found the place against Jan Hoffman, getting it done out of turn number 1, because Hoffman found himself pulling over to the side, probably for a slowdown penalty or of some kind, and managed to get himself through. So not really any worry. So there you can see, just pull over to the left-hand side, and I'm not going to fight you. There you go.
Yep, respectable thing to do in racing. When you're not quite as fast as the guys behind, it's better to just let them go and do their thing, and then you can learn off them potentially. But yeah, we're starting to see cars closing up on each other, and hopefully we're going to see some close racing towards the end of the race.
Certainly can do, of course. Vortex Sim Racing, known very much in the IndyCar circles as a team that can go out there and can attack and has opportunities to showcase itself. It has been a World Championship level team in the past, and effectively has had a whole host of fantastic drivers through that team at one point or another. But for the moment at least, Jan Hoffman is not going to be able to really challenge Omar Bahar down this front stretch. They don't have DRS in these sorts of vehicles. What they do have, though, is a very streamlined machine that can go out there and can attack. And that is Thomas Tartari around in 2nd position. So Thomas Tartari has gone for a spin, coming out of 2nd place, and through turn 6, it's an inconspicuous place. He just lost the back end through 5 and tried to gather it back again, going through turn number 6. He's ultimately got the curb, and it's just snapped on him.
Yeah, and the car's looking pretty second-hand. Look at it crabbing its way back. Initially, I didn't think the damage was too bad, but I don't think that's going to be a quick fix. So, yeah, disappointing for him to end his race like that.
Well, just take another little look at it. You can see just how quickly it goes here. You can see back steps out, wham, on the curb and into the wall hard. That's the hit. It will be the rear left. That will be the one that took the brunt of the hit. He got it out of the way, tried to turn it around, and then realised, okay, this thing is crabbing like anything's business. So Tartari effectively leaves it to a 1-2. But Danilo Sanfilippo now under pressure from Andreas Henkel at this moment. As we still see, you can see just how much he's got. He's over 90 degrees of left hand down. And Danilo Sanfilippo here, just trying to keep an eye out on him, just has had a really, really poor lap or so, it seems, because he's just been dropping back. And Henkel is now through.
There we go. So Henkel driving well in this event. He could even win this one. Not too far behind, although Marco Sanfilippo is currently lapping at 1:31.6. So these guys behind certainly need to pick up the pace a bit.
I've just seen Cal Young have a spin coming onto the Ullman straight. This was just a little bit ago. It was right behind Philip Schiff. We'll catch this on the virtual racing school replay, and it's such an inauspicious spin that he has had. So he goes through the final the penultimate corner here. And you can see he just doesn't get it across enough to get back out onto the circuit. He's lucky he's just avoided the wall, maybe a few sparks. And that will be Omar Bahar, once again, playing landmine avoidance, not for the first time. Let's take a look from his perspective here at what he saw. So Young's going to go off in front here. He's in the grass. He's trying to gather it up. And now where do you go? Oh, over to the right-hand side, abandoned bail right.
Yeah, he was very lucky there, but yeah, had plenty of time to react. And no collision caused. So the car that went around, though, he was lucky not to sustain some more damage from that.
Absolutely right. And now you can see it's James Chester's turn to get through on Danilo Sanfilippo, but he's clipped the wall through the final corner there has James Chester. He's got away with it. Now, what's going on here with Danilo? Because Philip Schiff finds his way through. I wonder if there is an issue of some kind right now that Danilo's dealing with, because he is well down in terms of power. And I'm just going to take a little look and see if there's anything untowards as he goes on through. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with the car, so to speak. He's just really struggling to keep it going. It seems like he's just wheel spinning through every corner.
Yeah, potentially maybe he's just done something to the underbody of the car, or worn out those rear tires too quickly. But yeah, you can certainly see he is struggling to get the power down, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still hearing wheel spin even up in 6th gear, which is a really weird feeling. I'm sure Danilo's got. He's got that big battle in front. We're on board with James Chester's in the MXS car. You can just about work out it says MXS there on the back. It's very cryptic and I'd say wonderful graphic design then as they go on through. And they are just dropping Danilo Sanfilippo as they get going. So there's Chester's, there's Schiff. It's on a straight line where Danilo Sanfilippo's struggling right now. I wonder if he's got a problem with his accelerator pedal or something, that maybe that's bringing him a little bit further down. So Schiff unable to attack Chester's, at least at this moment. So Marco Sanfilippo leads. It is Rashard Craig in second and Andreas Henkel, who finds himself in third. Philip Schiff will be looking for a move down to the inside here. The corner of 1004 lines at Sunset Bend. Any chance to attack this one off the exit. He's got the inside line and then some. There's nothing that James Chesters can do. He will just have to sit and play patient here the longer that this race does go on. Marco Sanfilippo at his best. Another fastest lap. He leads by 15 seconds.
Yeah, there we go. There was a great move there by Philip Schiff. He, although he's struggling with the rear end, still lapping at 1:31.5, so he's managing to still keep the car going reasonably fast. And we'll see if he can catch the next car in front of him.
What's incredible about Philip Schiff is he's up 10 places here and is absolutely flying. So Danilo Sanfilippo can't get there. Bahar, I think, was using the same brake reference because he almost found himself off into the grass for a second time here in this race. But really, this is one where they'll be looking at the pit stop window soon. We're on lap 11, of course, of 30. And you'd say that if you want to split it out 50-50, you go lap 15. Anything longer than that, around lap 20 to 22, we're expecting as the latest attempts to come down in and make their stops.
Yeah, okay, well, that will certainly throw a cat amongst the pigeons. And, yeah, this track I absolutely love. Love this circuit. It's created so much great racing for V8 Scops that we cover. And, yeah, as we see a car going off in the background there.
Yep, that's Jan Hoffman. So we haven't quite caught that on the cameras, but Jan Hoffman has gone for an off then through the right-hand bend, there, of Le Mans. Just pushed it a little bit too quickly and hasn't lost a position for it, which is key, and gets very close then as they go on through. But there is Andreas Henkel, currently in third position, and quietly has been catching Rashard Craig. There you can see 0.4 of a second that last time by the gap came down to. That is a 1.3 second margin here in the battle for second and third.
There we go. That's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, these guys are pretty experienced in these cars now. Just to see the change from round one to the round that we're at now is incredible. So yeah, incredible job.
Yeah, we are seeing some incredible driving skill out there. We are on board with Andreas Henkel right now, giving the chase to Rashard Craig as they head through Bishop on the Flying Fortress Straight, through into Gendebien, and now Le Mans Corner onto the Ullman Straight. They'll come along next. And now you start to see just how difficult it is to pilot these machines. They are so difficult, really, I'd say, Fonty, through medium downforce corners. It seems like something that you would take for granted in a car so sleek as this, but they are so squirrely with the power that you don't have that aerodynamic grip to keep the car planted. That's what makes it so difficult.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. And getting it off the line is another challenge in itself. So you would have thought those big bits of rubber that are holding it down to the ground on the rear would be able to keep it stuck to the ground, but that's certainly not the case. It's all about throttle control and using that throttle wisely.
Yep, and we have seen many a driver fall foul of the throttle not working. There is still Danilo Sanfilippo, and that is Adam Cohn. They're going for a spin. The New Zealander in a bit of trouble. Your neck of the woods there, Fonty. Final corner, Sunset Bend. The easy thing to get it wrong. The back stepping out over the bumps.
Yep, there we go. Kiwi counterpart struggling out there on American soil, but good to see him out there having a good crack.
Yeah, there you can see it. That's how easily it can go around here at Sebring. That final corner is so difficult, and you do take it for granted sometimes, the way that you can drive around, but the focus still on that battle, second and third. Rashad Craig just keeping it at arm's reach then. Andreas Henkel, 6/10 the difference that last time by they crossed the line, and the three-car scrap behind now with Chester's, Danilo Sanfilippo, and now Omar Bahar as well, really starting to heat up. Henkel within half a second, not going to be able to attack this time, but through goes Omar Bahar for one, and it will be looking at Chester's, who has been very wide through Sunset Bend quite often in this race. It's not going to get two just yet, but Omar Bahar really trying to recover after that poor start. As we look at Henkel now, trying to make the move. Bahar's going for the dive in towards turn number one, and is going to take that. That's 2 in 2 corners, and here comes Danilo rocketing onto the scene, trying to get down the inside of James Chester's here. Thank you very much. I'll take that one.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic bit of driving there by Omar Bahar. He set that up really well. Certainly didn't expect him to get past both of them, and look at the gap he's pulled on those guys already.
Fastest lap of the race, Marco Sanfilippo, and he's just setting them lap after lap after lap. He is set a fastest lap on lap 10, a fastest lap on lap 12, and now on lap 13, he's done a 1:30.2 out there on track, which is fully an entire second quicker than anybody else has been able to manage so far in this race. So that'll be worth keeping in mind the longer this goes on. But once more, into Jean de Bien goes Henkel and Craig in this battle going on, heading towards halfway here in this one. And Rashad Craig is now under threat because Andreas Henkel in the number 4. He wants to go. He wants to make this happen. The Michael Schumacher-inspired helmet then on at this stage from his Ferrari days in the early to mid-2000s. That helmet comes from. Couldn't get it done at Sunset, but he's definitely putting all the right moves on at this stage to make Rashad Craig alert to the fact that he wants to get through and will plan on it very soon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Henkel was driving fantastically well, only half a second separating these two cars. Marco Sanfilippo, though, 19 seconds up the road, so fantastic driving by him. He's obviously had plenty of practice around here and knows the place like the back of his hand.
Certainly does. We've been seeing how Marco Sanfilippo has been dominating races. Now here comes Henkel looking for the inside. Forces Rashad Craig to go wide there at the hotel hairpin. Didn't have enough confidence to shut the door through the corner. And now Henkel's got a great run up to Cunningham here. This is a fantastic 90-degree right. Down on the brakes he goes. And that is a wonderful overtake there. Andreas Henkel moves up to second place.
Yep, fantastic pass there. And it's just got 19 seconds to catch up down the road. Stops will be happening very soon.
They certainly will. 19 seconds is almost nigh on impossible sometimes to get exactly what you want out of these overtakes. So I doubt that we're going to be seeing that too much. But in comes the race leader on halfway, Marco Sanfilippo. Now, 72 Ks it is. You go down the straight, and Rashad Craig here will be looking at this, thinking that he's got a really good chance to come back, or maybe just dive down into the pits and try and undercut for it. So we'll see what happens. They're both going to stay out a little bit longer here as they go on through. Marco Sanfilippo in his box right now. There is Philip Schiff just behind him, 4th position overall. So this will be an interesting place to see where Marco Sanfilippo comes out in comparison. He'll be out behind Rashad Craig on circuit, but he will be just with Omar Bahar, and he just stays ahead.
Yeah, there we go. So fantastic stop there from our race leader. And yeah, Omar Bahar is, I'm sure he'll just jump on the back and try and hang with him. I reckon our current race leaders will put this next lap. Both of them will come at the same time for sure.
Well, that will be questionable. We'll see whether that becomes the case. They'll be playing that game of chicken with each other. If you pit, I pit. If you stay out, I stay out. I think it's going to be that sort of level that we find ourselves at here at Sebring as they make that move down the Flying Fortress Straight for their 16th revolution of the circuit. 15 laps to go, of course, here at Sebring. 14 and a half now for these drivers, soon to be 14 and a little bit. Andres Henkel really fighting with the car. You have to almost be like an octopus and have 8 limbs to make sure you can keep the car in a straight line.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They are an absolute beast to drive. And if they were real in real life, I'm sure we would see plenty of great racing. You'd have to be pretty fit to drive one of these in real life, though, I reckon.
I think you have to be pretty fit to drive one of these virtually, the amount of steering action that you have to put in. So both drivers stay out then once again, and it's a case to be made of get the tyres up to temperature. Danilo Sanfilippo then will take the dive into the pits, and I am not surprised after those issues. And if there is anything more that's struggling, well, there's more we can talk about. Anthony Cat, though, has found himself in a battle here. He's closed down about 1.2 seconds that last lap over the Vortex Sim Racing driver of Jan Hoffman, and his next focus is get through quickly. It's going to be now, though. That was a mistake from Hoffman, but Hoffman's able to just cover it off then at 3 by braking just a little bit later.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Anthony Cat doing a fantastic job, and Henkel's not going to make it easy for him to get past, though.
Nobody said it had to be easy, but it will try and be an overtake, at least at this moment in time, for Anthony Cat. They've got Cal Young for company as well behind, so they'll be keeping an eye out on this. This is the battle going on at this moment in time for 7th and 8th place on the road. So the cone's getting kicked up through the corners then by Anthony Cat, who's using all of his road tax at every available opportunity, but at least for now, he will have to play the patience game of I cannot get and through at this stage. There is Andreas Henkel, and they can see in the background that is Marco Sanfilippo. Bahar staying with him right now on circuit, but questions on when to dive in. Well, there goes both of them making that lunge for the pit lane and trying to make that one work in reality. Schiff's going to join them as well here on lap 17. So Marco Sanfilippo to the race lead. Bahar will come along as well for the ride. Only Chesters stays out of those yet to pit, and Cat is down the inside then of Jan Hoffman. Gets the move nicely sorted. So a battle of pit crews it becomes.
It certainly does. Hoffman there, last one to go into the lane. Who's going to come out first out of these guys? We're going to have Henkel. He's just got it.
It's going to be
he's going to be giving the ride away. So Henkel gets away nicely. Good stop by him. Richard Craig, he also had a pretty good stop, but just couldn't quite get it off the mark as fast.
I think it was more the fact that he was trying to not be too wide and risk his race. I wonder if he was a little bit too pedestrian there. Andreas Henkel with a bit of a wiggle there, as we see. 9-second pit stop for him, as he was stationed in the lane with only a handful of drivers in front yet to make their stops. James Chesters, Anthony Cat and Cal Young. Those drivers who will need to come back down into the pits then and make their stop. Adam Cohn, by the looks of things, has just pulled it off into the pits as well, making his stop. But there is Marco Sanfilippo back in the race lead. Deposed by 1 lap, stops the Grand Slam, but he is well out and away at this point in time.
Yeah, certainly is. Doing a fantastic job. Omar Bahar also not doing too bad of a job out there. Obviously just made a stop. But yeah, his pace was pretty consistent with our race leader.
Yeah, there is Cal Young then trying to chase down Anthony Cat, both of which are due to come down into the lane and make a pit stop, both of whom have had a spin, both of whom who will dive down together And if you can take a look at that, Anthony Catt got closed right on in there by Cal Young, who was aggressive with the lane and has done a very, very good job. James Chesters will also follow in. So everybody now having made their stop then by lap 18 here in this race. That will give them 12 laps to go out. The battle very much on here at this moment in time between Henkel and Rashad Craig. That's a mistake from Andreas Henkel, and you don't give a gift too often to Rashad Craig, but I doubt he's in a position right now due to the nature of how you accelerate out of turn 5 to make a big lunge down here at the Hotel Hairpin, turn 7.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Fantastic driving from both of these guys. Looks like there's a little bit of damage on the front of Rashad's wing on the right hand side. Be my vision of the screen. Yeah, great battling between these two guys.
Doesn't look like anything on my end. It might just be yours there, Fonty, as the attack continues on. Rashad Craig just keeping quietly behind in that IndyCar-inspired livery, trying to really attack and really get himself into play to make sure that he has that move available as and when it comes along. We've seen Andreas Henkel look really, really good in these sorts of races, and this podium battle is far from over. Craig keeping himself nice and calm behind. He's able to go up to 335 clicks right now, going through into that right. It's not as fast as the McLaren MP430 out there on the service, but the way that this car gets its time back is through the corners.
Yeah, yep, that's definitely right. I love that last corner. I can't keep saying it enough. It really creates so many passing opportunities, and like you said before, there's about 4,000 different ways that you can attack it, and you've really got to look after your tyres though, because if you take it too hard too many times, you can kiss goodbye to the front pretty quickly.
You absolutely can. This battle's still continuing then. Henkel just able to pull away a little bit over the course of that opening sector in comparison to Rashad Craig. He gets confidence now in the car once more. They progress now towards Cunningham Corner, turn number 9, out on circuit. Collier Corner follows straight after, which some would say is the more difficult of the two, because you have to turn and put the power down. Very difficult to do. You need confidence in the car to be able to make that happen out on the road. This is the closest battle out there, and that is a spin for Jan Hoffman then, down at turn number 3 out on circuit. Will catch us on the Virtual Racing School replay, and it looks to me like it's another one of those trademark grab the grass on entry moments.
Yeah, let's just wait and have a look and see what's going on here. Riding on board. Big thanks to Virtual Racing School for supporting us. Oh yes, you're exactly right. That right rear just grabbed the grass as he pinched the brake, and he was lucky to get away with that one.
Certainly was. You don't have much room to gather it back up again. Those tyre barriers there at turn 3 really do encroach here around this Sebring circuit, and we very much nearly found ourselves down another driver. We are down 2 in this race. Pablo Suarez off of the start, losing or getting his front left tyre decapitated after about 50 meters worth of driving. He drove 1 grid stall before his race was over. And then, of course, Thomas Tartari from 2nd position, having his major incident coming out of turn 5 and in towards the Gurney Bend. That did not work out for him in the slightest. But at least the charge right now here is with Henkel and Craig. They're very even in terms of their times. And now Danilo Sanfilippo, after that pit stop, well, he was looking good, but he's just ran it wide under the braking as he looks to try and give James Chesters a little run at this stage.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, Rashad Craig all over the back of Henkel here, looking very racy, waiting for him to make a mistake. We're on lap 21 of 30, so 9 to go, and the race is certainly on. I don't think they're going to be able to catch Marco Sanfilippo, who is 22 seconds up the road. But yeah, certainly going to be a great battle between these two guys.
Unless you suggest the unthinkable and Marco Sanfilippo puts it in the wall somewhere, I doubt we'll see him get caught. But for Rashad Craig, 2nd position, this will be important because this is a low split field, so the difference in points between 2nd and 3rd is absolutely massive in comparison to one large split field.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, certainly the split. I was expecting to see a little bit higher tonight, but yeah, Friday night people probably out and about. So 14 drivers turning up here to race hard and have a good time. And Rashad Craig looks like he wants to get on that second step of the podium.
He certainly does. It was more the fact we had 28 drivers here and it was split then into two groups of 14, which is unfortunate. The split, of course, is at 26, so there's not much you can do there. But there is Danilo Sanfilippo, who's chasing down James Chesters there, the Frenchman just in front. And the MXS car is just doing enough to keep things stationary. We've seen Chesters not really fight for positions too much because he's the sort of driver, Fonty, who'd rather finish a race than have a battle.
Yeah, that can be quite a good technique and game plan to have. To finish first you have to finish, and you may not have to win a race to win a championship. And let's see if he holds him up here though. You got plenty of runoff to be able to hold the guy out behind you and use those track widths to your advantage.
Well, here's the focus. They take the charge on the Ullman Straight. Danilo Sanfilippo closing, but not enough then as he takes the wider, more laboured line going into the Sunset Bend. Struggling a little bit off of the exit there to put the power down and attack. And ultimately that focus will have to be from behind for another lap here in this one. Now into the pits once again comes Tomasz Kozdron. This will be his mandatory stop out there on track. He has pulled it into the pits a couple of times over the course of the racing that we've seen, but that is an official stop that he's got right now. And the focus once more on Rashad Craig, just needling on the back of one Mr. Andreas Henkel. He's looking and searching for that move, and he's just keeping that constant state of pressure, almost like there.
Filippo. So, the other Sanfilippo brother made a big mistake. So James has a nice big gap in front of him now of a second, which he'll be able to relax into.
Yeah, half spin from Danilo Sanfilippo as he came into the hotel hairpin. We'll catch a little look at this one right now. Well, here's one of the difficulties at low speed, because you're reliant on the torque of the engine to get yourself around in these cars. You can see the back steps out. He has to slide it through the corner, almost as if he's trying to drive one of those 1988 V12 turbos, it feels like. And there is Anthony Catt as well, proving that Thomas Tartari was not the only one to go for that spin. The good news for Anthony Catt, I think he's just kept it out of the wall.
Yeah, I think he has got away with that one just nicely. Yeah, these cars would have been like driving an older F1 car, maybe with just a little bit more technology. It's looking like Danilo is just struggling there with those rear end tyres potentially wearing out because he's not really catching on them.
No, he's not really at all. And it is showing, at least at this stage, that Danilo Sanfilippo is trying everything here as he tries to keep James Chesters in his sights. So we'll keep that in mind as they go on through. We also need to keep in mind that these two in second and third position, if they do make a mess of things, they will open up for Philip Schiff, who is there in fourth position. This is the first time this season, I've probably had to say it, that Philip Schiff is this far into a race.
Well, good on him. He's obviously been practicing and, trying to be consistent on track. That's the main thing. Finish first you have to finish.
You certainly do. And now Andreas Henkel will be looking behind in the mirrors as Rashad Craig closes and looks to pull to the inside for that move. But Henkel unfazed through Sunset Bend. He'll lose that traction on the exit as he has to gather it up. So here comes Rashad Craig's chance this time here towards turn number one. Has he got enough of a drive? He'll think about it, but he backed off into one. He couldn't quite pick it up. So he'll have to wait again for that chance there. 25 seconds down on Marco Sanfilippo, and again a little lock up there for Andreas Henkel, and now it's Danilo Sanfilippo's turn to get the move done. He's looking eyes very wide here at James Chesters, and again he's also not quite in the position. He needs an extra 50 meters on that straight, but he might try here towards turn number 3, thinking about the inside, lunging for it. Chesters leaves the door open. That was a very much you turn in and we're both out move.
Yeah, fantastic driving from both of them there to give each other room. And James Chester's doing a fantastic job at holding him off.
He is, and that's what James Chesters does very well. He's not too phased when the attacks come in. He just keeps it to his strategy, keeps to his race, and he doesn't have any real arguments about it at this moment in time. So James Chester's here. We take that focus on, look behind as they go through Cunningham into Collier and over towards the Tower Core and the Flying Fortress Straight. It's one way you could say that Danilo Sanfilippo is chomping at the bit to get through, and he's just got a really strong run here. But this is not the conducive place to attack because he's got this tough bishop left that comes through. Maybe at Jean de Bien. Nope, no angle.
Yeah, I think it was James just made a little slight mistake getting on the power there, which gave Sanfilippo that run, and there we go. He's just made another mistake himself. So that gap that was closed up has been opened up to nearly a second again.
It's as easy as that. He was trying to push hard. The back stepped out a bit, and he was able to gather it up. Rashad Craig still stuck behind Andreas Henkel. We've been seeing this all race long, really. Henkel got the move done. Rashad Craig has stayed there. Now, I wonder if Rashad Craig will take a podium, which I'm sure he is, but Henkel just pushes a little bit wide going through at the hotel hairpin. Might just be enough of a sniff here for Rashad Craig to know that he is creating opportunities here. Not big opportunities, but small ones. Lap on lap on lap. He's seeing those micro mistakes come in.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We've got 4 laps left, and if he's looked after those tyres and he can sort of identify where the other car's mistakes potentially may happen, then we could see definitely a passing opportunity. But he's setting himself up there, I think, for probably a last lap move.
I think that might be one of the ideas. He does struggle with the dirty air effect there through Le Mans corner. That gives Andreas Henkel a couple of tenths of a second in the back pocket to go and play with, and he'll be at least happy that he's pulling out a little bit more of a gap at this stage. This is the battle for the podium. Rashad Craig trying everything to stay with Andreas Henkel. We saw Craig's tyres starting to go away in the end of that first stint. I wonder if he's using the draft to keep there. There is Danilo Sanfilippo. That gap is quite extensive now. I'd put that at about 7 or 8 car length.
Yeah, 0.9 of a second separating himself and Chester's. And yeah, Henkel, the battle with Henkel and Craig. Craig's front tyres, you can see as we were on board. Well, I was on board with them back there. That it's really just understeering coming off the turn. So to try and get the run, you want to be able to have front grip, and that's certainly where he's struggling at this stage. So I think he's going to have to do it under brakes.
Well, here we go. He's got a great look, but again, he's not confident enough to throw it up the inside at Cunningham corner. He got another great run coming out of that hotel hairpin because he's just able to take it a lot more narrower than what Andreas Henkel is. But Henkel is so good through every other part of the lap that it doesn't give Rashad Craig any real respite or opportunity to go out there and make something happen. They're very much rubber banding at this stage between each other, and you'd say with 3 and I would say 2 straights to go in their race, you'd wonder here if Rashad Craig has enough to make it happen, and will he go out there and be aggressive because he's closing right up now. Here comes the move to the inside as we just cut away at the wrong point, and now on that inside line, Henkel's out in the marbles and will have to cede the place, at least for now.
Yep, that was a great move. It's certainly not over though. Just depends on if Henkel has the front tyres to be able to do it. Craig looks fast. He's already starting to pull a slight little gap. So potentially Henkel's car is, the rubber on it is worn out. And that might be our podium sealed.
It is. We've also got Danilo Sanfilippo side by side with Chester's and goes through. So we take a look on the virtual racing school replay then of the move. He got the inside, a more desired line. You can hold it around the outside, but Henkel got caught out in the marbles slightly and trying to get that done didn't work. So through now is Danilo Sanfilippo up into 6th position here in this race as we focus on their Philip Schiff in 4th position right now, having just that quiet drive. Started P14, so he's up 10 places here in this one. And as we say that, he's just had a little half spin, and that might just open the door up there for Omar Bahar to decide there, as we just caught on the replay there. So it seems like Philip Schiff is just sensing the nerves a little bit right now. And there is Danilo Sanfilippo, who did get through into turn 1 on James Chester's.
He might have the broadcast up on another screen, listening to you talk about him there, Sperry, mate, and he got a bit nervous. But yeah, driven a fantastic race there from P14 and sitting in 4th position. So not many laps to go, and I'm sure he can hold on to finish up there in P4.
Sometimes you feel in this sort of series like you're Kevin Harlan calling Week 17 pro football, because I'm calling both attacks that were going on at that point in time. Omar Bahar there in 5th position, trying to chase down one Mr. Philip Schiff. You'll see him in front, and the key here is it's 3.7 seconds, but you're running out of time. You've got 2 laps to go, and you're hoping that Philip Schiff makes more mistakes, and that battle for 2nd and 3rd is still very much there.
Yeah, it certainly is. The battle is on, and he's not giving up. But, yeah, could be on to this last lap, I think. We're on, 1.5 laps to go there, so does he have the tyre life left in it?
Oh, he's so good through Collier Corner and over towards Tower is Andreas Henkel. He keeps himself well within range to attack towards Le Mans corner, and of course the work there again, heavy under braking is Henkel. The last lap starts now for Marco Sanfilippo, and here comes the attack that Andreas Henkel's been looking for here. Richard Craig is in a bit of trouble here, and here comes Henkel moving to the inside as he gets that run over towards Sunset Bend and picks it back up again. It was 13 laps of trying for Richard Craig. It was only 2 for Andreas Henkel to strike straight back while the iron's hot. Now, can Richard Craig go out there and put that attack back in again? He was thinking about that run towards turn number 1, but this time at least Fonty couldn't get there.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, fantastic move there by Henkel. He set that up really well, and normally you'd see him run a little bit wide coming onto the front straight there, but yeah, had it absolutely perfect, and you can see the speed he's got now. I think it's going to be hard for Richard Craig to get back past.
He'll try though. At the Hotel Hairpin, he's looked good, but Henkel is better on the power. Had more confidence, but a big wiggle there as he went through that final gear of acceleration. It opens the door for Craig, but he can't get there at Cunningham Corner. So again, it is a case of waiting. For Marco Sanfilippo, though, he has absolutely flown here today at Sebring. Once more, he's been flying and in machines which, time and again, are more considered to be like aircraft than they are to be like racing machines. He is someone who has flown. Marco Sanfilippo dominates again here at Sebring. The battle's still on for 2nd, but it is Andreas Henkel now who's put in a really, really good back half of the lap, which has put Richard Craig pretty much at desperation time, trying to find his last move. He'll think about what he can do through the final corner. He hopes Henkel's back end steps out. He hopes he's got a drive through. Henkel with a big wiggle as he goes through that final section. You'd have thought there would have been a run to turn 1, but unfortunately the line is halfway through that. So Andreas Henkel will take that 2nd position, and a change, it seems, late on as Philip Schiff has lost the place to Omar Bahar on the last lap of the race. And it was all a mistake under braking into the Hotel Hairpin, Fonty.
Oh, there we go. So, yeah, the pressure got to him. He drove a fantastic race either way, up 9 positions from his original starting grid of 14th. So, Omar Bahar, very good driver. And, yeah, he was always going to be, you know, putting the pedal to the metal to try and get into that 4th place. And Philip was slightly, the pressure slightly got to him.
Yeah, there you can see, locks it up, goes in deep, goes over, takes a cone with him, and ultimately, thank you very much, says Omar Bahar. You don't take those every day of the week. So cookies, that was his. And official classified results then are coming up on your screen. Marco Sanfilippo, in 46 minutes and 11 seconds, put on another showcase clinic of how you race a Dallara Formula IR. He is the yardstick right now, and how do you beat him is the real question. Andreas Henkel finishes it off in second place with Rashad Craig rounding out the podium after that overtake with a lap and a bit to go. As Omar Bahar picks up fourth, he got it done on the final lap against Philip Schiff, who did everything possible to finish the race, and I would say give him a driver of the day. He was up 9 places from the back of the grid to finish up in P5. Danilo Sanfilippo, uncharacteristic were his problems. We wonder if there was a pedal issue early on, if he had no luck with the tyres or he just scrubbed them up so badly. P6 is not a good drive by his standards here today, with James Chesters there finishing off in 7th. Cal Young will take 8th ahead of Anthony Catt, whose late spin at turn 5 cost him that final place. And then rounding out the top 10, a lap down, deciding that he wanted to cut his losses early, was Jan Hoffman for Vortex Sim Racing. Adam Cohn was also 1 lap down in the Leighton House, New Zealander, trying everything possible, but was down from very early on, as well as Tomasz Kozron, who had himself an issue on lap 1, which put him into a tow mode, and 2 laps down he finished. Then for this one, the 2 retirees from this race, Thomas Tartari, who was trying his best to stay up with Marco Sanfilippo, but the pressure got to him and just couldn't stay with the spin, costing him then out of 5 towards the Gurney Bend. And then for 50 meters of racing, Pablo El Suarez probably want his money back after that sort of drive. But next time out, it's the home of British sim racing. It's Silverstone Fonty, and it is one of the marquee circuits in the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely love that place. Awesome facility, and yeah, I reckon we'll see some pretty awesome racing there in these Formula IR cars there next week.
And the only place you can catch those Formula IR cars next week, these Dallara Formula IRs, is going to be right here with us at this place with SimSpeed TV. We are not done today with the action that we've got. Next time that we'll be with you will be in about 57 minutes from now, where we will be showcasing to you the VRS GT Sprint Series and the conclusions of those rounds coming in, so make sure you check it out. Massive thanks, though, has to go to the Virtual Racing School, who have been helping sponsor our replays here for the course of this year. From, of course, Jay Kennedy, who's been on the cameras, Scott Fountain, Fonty, alongside me. I've been Jake Sperry, and it is smiles again for Marco Sanfilippo. Yes, there is no Tamas Simon here. Yes, he will pick and choose when he does his 8 races, but doesn't matter who your opponent is or is not. You race the field in front of you, and Marco is just walking away from everybody else on a consistent and regular basis. Everyone else is going to have a look around and keep an eye out on how Marco drives, because that is simply plain sailing, and they need to find a way to take the wind away.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?